Okay. Want me to just start?
Yeah.
I'm Cecil Casper McCullough Jr.
Well, it looks like all of them cats have come down, cause we got the biggest ice game in town. We don't care about
Well, I was born and raised in Gentry, Arkansas. And Daddy was cutting down trees, cleaning them up, and selling them to the railroad for cross ties. We moved to Kansas City, Missouri. It was me, my younger brother, my older brother John, older brother than him, Lawrence, and my brother, the oldest, was Leon. 5 boys and 1 girl. Or like Daddy used to say, got 5 boys and we each had a sister. And one day I went down to the railroad where we used to live, me and 2 of my brothers and some neighborhood kids, and we broke into a caboose and stole everything we could find. Fusees, torpedoes, paperwork, didn't make any difference. I was 14 years old, my brother John was 16 years old. A torpedo is what they used to strap to the railroad with lead straps. They'd strap these things on the railroad track and then go off like a big old firecracker. It'd rock the train. So what we were doing, we'd tearing the red paper off, throwing the lead strip away, and we'd chip them up in little pieces. And step on them, and go off like a firecracker. It'd tingle your foot, but it was fun to us. Well, I tore the paper off one of them, and it was big and fat, and I couldn't chip it up. It was too fat, so I hit it on the corner of a brick retaining wall. And I watched my fingers go. In Kansas City at that time, in 1950, you had to call the police department before you could call an ambulance. The Department of Police came in and went right up and called the ambulance. And my hand was all wrapped up. They took me to the hospital, and they gave me penicillin every 3 hours, 24 hours a day, for 3.5 to 4 months. And I swelled up like a big red strawberry. Because I was allergic, nobody knew it, but I was allergic to penicillin. So finally they took me off penicillin, and I got to go home. And unbeknownst to me, a physical therapy nurse told my mama that if I had a piano, it would be good exercise for my right hand. But I didn't know that. And Mama told the nurse that I know exactly how to make him do it. So she told me not to do it. I told Mama when I first walked in the door, I said, "Oh, you got a new piano." Mama said, "Yeah, but stay away from it. The rest of your life you're crippled. Just don't get around that piano." I said, But every time I'd find her gone, Mama and Daddy, or Mama or Daddy, I'd sit down and tinkle with the piano. It was good exercise, it was fun too. And about 6 months later, she come walking by and just smiled at me and kept on walking. A little later, a guy came down that I had met. He lived up in the road behind us, came down in his car with his uniform. He was Army, his uniform on. And he came in and said, "Cecil," he said, "I got a guitar and a mandolin in my car. Do you want them?" And I said, "Well, yeah, if you're going to get rid of them, I want them." So he went and got them. He brought them in and gave them to me. And we sat there and talked for 30 minutes or so. Then he got back in his car and went home and shot himself in the head. So that's what really started me playing guitar and stuff. Anything with strings on it. Then one day I forget exactly where I met him, but I met a guy named Howard Halsey. He wrote some good songs. and he and I decided we're going to play music. So we played music from every honky tonk in Bossier City all the way down to Minden, Louisiana, right and left. Howard started talking to the people of Louisiana Hayride. So they invited us to come on and play some. So we did. We played I don't know how many Saturdays at the Louisiana Hayride. And one day I met Elvis there. And I met Johnny Cash there and Jerry Lee Lewis and all the Sun Record people that came and played in Louisiana. Well, Elvis, I understand, Scotty Moore got sick. That was a guitar player for Elvis. Elvis called me in Minden, so I talked to him. He says, Cecil says, Scotty's had to go back to Memphis. He's sick. Said, can you play a few gigs with me? And I said, sure. And after that, I never saw Elvis again. But it was exciting being with him. I also met Johnny Cash and Luther and Marshall Grant, the bass player for Johnny Cash. Me and Luther and Luther Perkins and Marshall Grant and Johnny Cash were just not getting started, and they were on the Louisiana Hayride also. So I got to be friends with them. We went down to a motel room one night after the show, and Johnny had a little snip or two. He went to bed early, and me and Marshall and Luther were playing blackjack and what have you. And we heard this voice from the room going, Luther, turn the light out. Luther said, Johnny, just let us finish his hand. And we heard a bam! Johnny shot the light out. Next day he got up, paid for all the damages, and everything was okay after that. Well, Howard and I decided we're going to move to Texas. So that's what we did. We moved to Texas. Well, I started writing songs also. And I wrote everybody else's songs were released. Mine escaped. That's the difference. But Howard and I were writing together, talking. Howard wrote most of a song called Pick 'em Up and Shake 'em Up. And I wrote the other side, which called I Got Nothing Else to Lose. So we decided to record it. And we went down to E.E. Manny's. Manny had a publishing house and a recording studio on White Settlement Road here in Fort Worth. So we went in to record it, and Bill Smith, Major Bill Smith was in there. We recorded Pick 'em Up and Shake 'em Up, and on the other side, Nothing Else to Lose. And that was it. They put it out, and like I said, most people have releases. Mine was an escape. I don't know if it sold any or not because I never got a penny. I got a few dollars from BMI because I was a BMI writer, but I didn't get any money from any record company. It was out on Detour Records and out on Manco. But I never got any money. I never got a penny from Major Bill Smith either. But that's life.